All right, and welcome to another special episode here at Stay Tuned with Troy and Howie, and we have another great guest coming aboard, and it's Tina Tibbetts. How's it going, Tina?
Good. How are you guys?
Good, good. And well, before we started recording, it sounds like you have a lot going on.
Yeah.
uh, but I definitely got interested in you based on your ghost hunting background, and I guess you have a would you call it a business or a hobby at this point?
A hobby, but it's kind of just very recently, slowly turning into kind of a little bit of a side business too, which is kind of fun and exciting.
Okay. Awesome. And then also I saw well we just talked about, but you have para911.com, which is your official ghost hunting team.
Yes, that's our team that I'm part of here in Sioux City, Iowa.
Okay, awesome.
And you specifically have a Facebook page, Journey into the Haunted. And I was kind of just searching that a little bit before you came on. So not only the ghost hunting is how I was saying, but like photography as well. Is it photography of the ghost hunting stuff, or is it separate?
I do a lot of, I've always loved photography, so I do just a lot of it in general. And then when I started getting into doing some of the investigations, you get into these old locations and they're just so cool that, any photographer, whether you're interested in the haunted or not, would love to
Sure.
get in and photograph these places. So I love to do that as part of our investigations. And then recently I've just been kind of joining some other teams and doing like team photos, or a lot of people do investigation events where they'll
Hmm.
have tickets sold. And then I've just kind of been going in and hanging out and photographing the events and stuff too. So a lot of different angles there, and I love all of it. It's so much fun.
Oh, I bet. Well, not I bet. I've actually experienced some of it myself, which is a lot of fun. I've gone on in fact, last week we were sharing some information. I went to a mansion here in Pennsylvania. We live in like near Hershey, PA, and we had this. It's called Haldeman Mansion in central Pennsylvania, and I got to go, and they had like one of the ghost hunters that you see on TV. They were doing a show there, and I got to spend like some of that night hanging out with them and seeing how they do things. And man, it is an interesting thing. It's really cool to just kind of let your guard down, so to speak, and experience that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, when did
We
you start
we
getting interested into this?
It's kind of a funny story. Most people have really cool stories about how they grew up in a haunted house or had all these cool things happen as a kid. And me, I was kind of the opposite. I was scared of it all. If you would have told me I'd be doing this, I would have thought you were crazy. It just so happens that I also am into cars, and I run a Ford Mustang club here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and we're always looking for unique things for our group to do. And people come in and out of the club over the years. And we had a guy come along, and we became friends on Facebook. And his name's Robert. And he did this and went on
Okay.
events and all of this. And I thought, God, that's really cool. And kind of got to talking to him about it. And he said, if anybody from the club ever wanted to go check out this place I go to a lot, we could do a cruise down there. So we planned it, and it grew into this insane thing. We went to a place called Malvern Manor that's it's a little bit south of Omaha, Nebraska, and then the infamous Villisca Axe Murder House in Villisca, Iowa. So he arranged for us to hit up two places on this cruise, and we had all these people find out about it. And we ended up with, I think, 68 Ford Mustangs and over 125 people that rolled into these little teeny towns.
Oh
Nice.
wow.
Yeah, everybody loved it. But anyways, he talked me into staying and doing an investigation with the team that night. I specifically left my car there because I figured I'd probably flee during the night. And it was quite the opposite. He kept saying, you're either going to hate this and you'll never step foot in a place again, or you're going to get hooked. And, well, it's been about five and a
Here we
half
are.
years now. And here I
Wow.
am. So it's kind of a strange way to get into it, but that's what happened.
Okay. Well, you got hooked, and why did you get hooked? Like, what did you experience that kind of got you to the drawn towards doing something like this?
That night was crazy. You know, you walk into these places and sometimes it's just completely quiet and you basically just sit there and talk to yourself all night long, waiting for something to happen. But this particular night at this location, so many things happened, and being there yourself, you know, you can try and debunk everything and, you know, work your way through the place and try and figure out what's going on. And so many unexplained things happened that night, from voices to feeling like spider webs were catching on you. And then there was probably the craziest thing that happened is we were up in the attic and there were three of us. And you've probably seen on the ghost hunting shows those SLS cameras. That's the little camera from I think the Nintendo or the Wii or something.
Yeah. That
The
stick figure,
stick figure thing. Yeah. And so Robert's sitting there and his partner, Sarah, was across the room, and she started feeling some things, and he was watching his camera, not really saying what was going on. And she ended up getting scratched. And he had caught on his SLS camera this figure moving, you know, around her, and then she had gotten scratched in the meantime, and then the figure disappeared, and she was, you know, she's like, well, whatever I felt heavy is gone. And just things like that. It was just like, it was so weird and just very intriguing, you know.
That sounds eerily similar. We had Ashley Ramey on from the Ohio State Reformatory a few weeks ago, and I don't know if you had a chance to catch that episode.
Yes.
But she had mentioned that there was a gentleman in the group, and he felt like he was getting pushed from behind, and he thought it was just his wife messing with him. And he went to turn around to tell her to stop, and she was feet away, like a few feet away from him, like she couldn't have reached him. And then they saw a hand mark on his back.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So like, yeah, I mean, that reminds me of that story very much there. That's, I don't know, like, were you a believer at all before any of this happened? Did you always kind of thought there's a reason or explanation why that happened, right? Like,
yeah, but too, I was always scared. So I'm like, I guess if I figure if I'm scared, I probably believe that something can happen. So you know, I was always fearful of stuff. And you know, you watch all these different shows. There's so many of them on TV now that some of them are more entertainment shows.
Yes.
Yeah. And then there's there's other teams that are on some of them, and you're like, yeah, I could see that happening, you know. So I still am. I still kind of consider myself really skeptical, but I've seen enough things that I totally believe there's things there. And when things happen and equipment goes crazy and all of that stuff, I always like to really look into, you know, what else could be causing this, you know, not just jump to the conclusion that, oh, something's here, you know. But yeah, I mean, I definitely believe it's there. I just like to, you know, dig into what all's going on and what could possibly be causing things.
Did you get a chance to visit the Ohio State Reformatory yet? Has that been one of your stops yet?
I have not been out there. I haven't been anywhere in Ohio yet.
Okay.
So, I mean, have you heard of it?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's got to be like on the list, right? I mean,
definitely. Yeah.
Have you gone out to the East Coast here at all yet?
I think like Tennessee is probably the farthest over that way I've been. And then my husband and I are doing a road trip in September out to California. So, we're going to go out to Alcatraz. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
The Winchester Mystery House is somewhere we've been wanting to go. So, yeah, I'm excited.
That's awesome. So when you go to Alcatraz, I was going to say, when you go to Alcatraz, do you have like special permission to do things there, or how does that work?
For Alcatraz, I'm just going to go as like a general visitor and just go during the daytime. I haven't actually even looked into seeing what they do, if they even allow people out there. Probably not. My husband's a really good sport about all of this. He's not one that's going to jump in the car and go with me to very many of these events. He's super supportive, but it's just not his thing. So when we're doing road trips together, usually I kind of keep it at a minimum. But if it's somewhere I really want to go, he'll dump me off and he'll play video games at the hotel or something for a few
There you go.
But yeah.
Oh man, that sounds
Howie
like fun.
always speaks very highly of Gettysburg as far as the hauntings and stuff there in Gettysburg.
Yes.
That's got to be on the list too, right?
Yes, definitely. I've got some friends that we met at an event that they're doing Gettysburg in, I think, 2 weeks, and they are so excited. And they do a lot of live videos through Facebook, and it'll be fun to watch them. And they're mid-10 paranormal, so they're based out of Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah, they're doing
Yeah, I was gonna say we're probably about an hour outside of Gettysburg, so
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
so we get to. I've been to Gettysburg. Well, I do. Sometimes I'll go to work in Gettysburg, but also there's a lot of things going on there at night. There's this one building we went into, and it was like it's currently I don't even know I think it's a restaurant now. But in the basement of the restaurant is where they had like the makeshift hospital during the Civil War. And there were a lot of lives lost there. And I know Troy mentioned something about a finger, like a handprint with this one specific situation. But at Gettysburg, and I can't remember for the life of me what building it is, but there's a handprint that's on the wall that they cannot get rid of. They've sanded it. They've painted over it, they primered it, and every time it reappears, and it's there for everybody to see. And they're like, we've tried to get rid of it, but it's like impossible to get rid of for whatever reason. And you know what? Now that I think about it, I think it was in the old orphanage that they had there in Gettysburg, in like the basement area where I guess a lot of abuse occurred. But yeah, it's just, I mean, first of all, the history of itself in Gettysburg is just fun to be there, just to witness that. I've never done anything like ghost related there, but I would love to check that out sometime.
Oh, yeah, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever, like, through your journeys and stuff like that, and this seems to be a common thread that I've noticed as we speak with people that are into haunted stuff, and even just listening to other different podcasts and stuff that talk about this, but it always seems like there had to be some sort of misconduct to happen at the place for it to be haunted. Is that always true, or no? Or
It seems like it when you say that, because, whether it's obviously the jails and the sanatoriums and hospitals and all that, you hear about the abuse and all the crazy things that happen, but even like the mansions and the fancy, beautiful homes that we go to, there's always
like
a
Amityville, right?
story, and some of them, they're just wild. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like there's always something negative
bad happened there in order for this. Yeah. It's like the spirits don't want to hang around if it was a good place, They just hang around.
What's up with that?
Yeah, right.
Or maybe they're just content at that point, Maybe nothing bad happened here. We're good. We don't need to bother anybody. Live your lives and we'll just live ours, and we'll just live in our own two little, universes or whatever,
Yeah.
But I just thought of that as you were talking about, like Hallie was talking about Gettysburg, and you were talking about, the like Alcatraz. You got like I'm just like, I just thought about that. Like, how comes these places that are haunted, there's always something bad that happens there?
Yeah.
I know. I keep waiting to, for like old relatives to show up at my house and start, haunting me around. But I guess they need to die here first.
But not just die, though, right? It's got to be some sort of
right.
gruesome death or something.
A traumatic, some kind of traumatic death. And but yeah, I mean that stuff it always intrigues me. And you had mentioned, like, obviously there's some shows out there that kind of are geared more towards entertainment than anything else. Of the shows out there, what would you consider the most real of the ghost hunting shows?
I have probably 3 that are kind of my very favorites, and one of them is Ghost Hunters. They were kind of one of the OG groups out there doing that, and I've had the opportunity to be at a couple events with Steve Gonzalez and Dustin Perry and to listen to them talk. And they're both just amazing human beings, for one. They're fantastic at what they do with the paranormal. And then they'd also talk a little bit about how the production of their show would run. And I remember one of them saying, they book a week with this production company. They go out and they'll investigate every night for a week to get enough content to make a show. And if they don't get enough or nothing happens, somebody's on the phone calling the producer going, we need another location. They're not going to just make things happen or try and come up with stuff that's just not true to get a TV show out of it. So I have a lot of respect for them. Another one that's been a favorite of mine was Paranormal State. I thought that was a really cool show with Ryan Buell, and he had Lorraine Warren was on it, which was really cool. Back in some of the early episodes, but I thought what they did was really, really cool. And then most recently, Destination Fear. I love that show. With Dakota Layden and his sister and two of their friends that have gone around and done things. And now they're kind of off of the network and they're doing their own thing, which is really cool and exciting. But yeah, I think they do a really cool job. They do some investigating, and then at the end of the night, they pick the 4 most haunted locations in the building, and they split up, and they all go sleep by themselves somewhere, and let the cameras run. And they did some pretty crazy stuff. I don't know if I can do that.
I was just going to ask you, how comfortable are you with splitting up and sleeping somewhere or being in a room by yourself overnight?
I don't think I've done that. If I'm with at least one other person, I'm okay. But I haven't really broken off and been completely by myself. During an investigation, I have, but not at night asleep.
Yeah. And did you ever feel like at any point in given time, did you ever feel so uncomfortable where you felt like possibly your life was threatened at any of these places?
Life-threatening, definitely not. There was an instance once at Malvern Manor. That was the first place I ever went, and it's probably one of the most active, and I've been there now. I can't even count how many times I've gone there, but some things just get really weird there, and there's been times that I've just had to go outside for a little bit. And I was at Villisca at the Axe Murder House last summer. And it's not a very big house at all. And there were 4 of us in there, and things just started getting really, really weird. And we just kind of said, okay, we gotta call it. And we went outside, and somebody was saying, take your shoes and socks off and stand in the grass and kind of ground yourself and just kind of let this energy go through. And I'm like, okay, so that's what we did. And
there you go.
Is that the one that was is that the one where that was like an orphanage or something? Or they had there was 14 kids there or something weird, wasn't that? Is that the one? Or am I thinking something different?
That's a different place. The Villisca house is still an unsolved mystery, unsolved murder to this day. But the family had some. The children were home, and they had some children spending the night, and they believe that someone snuck into this house and then came out and just killed them all. I do remember that now. Yes.
Oh wow!
Wild stories with that place.
Yeah, I remember that. And that one's pretty close to you.
I think it's about 2 hours from me. But yeah,
I remember actually hearing about that one now. Yeah, that one, to this day, they don't know who did it. I think they said they thought it was a neighbor that had some sort of mental condition, but they could never clearly identify that.
Yes, and I think there was also a priest or a pastor or someone who confessed, but he didn't do it. And there's so many crazy stories around that whole incident.
So you said some really weird things happened. What were some of the weird things that you were experiencing?
At Malvern Manor, there's that place just gets about everything from, voices to scratches to some of it. It's hard to explain, but you get down in some of these hallways that are dark, and I'd never experienced it before I started doing this paranormal stuff, but you think it's as dark as it can get in that hallway, and it just keeps getting darker and darker, and you can't see in front of your face. And sometimes it'll it's almost like the energy just kind of does this. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah.
But it just gets weird. And then like at Velisca that night, it was just weird feelings. We weren't really getting a lot of stuff on equipment that was going off or anything like that. It was just more general atmosphere.
Cool.
It was just
Well,
weird.
and speaking of equipment, what are some of the different types of equipment that you do use to communicate?
We have a little bit of everything. Like on our team Para 911, there's 5 of us that are kind of the main group, and we've all got a little bit of our own stuff. We've got everything from the old dowsing rods, some crystals, some pendulums, to the guys on our team kind of like the big techie stuff, all the fun little toys like you see on TV.
Okay.
So we've got, an Ovulus, and we've got the EMF detectors and the REM pods and just all the little things that go off and make noise, and flashlights and
Yeah.
stuff. But the craziest thing about our team, when I first joined, I had never seen anybody catch so many EVPs as these guys. And so a lot of it, we just sometimes will even take just the recorders and go sit in a room without all the fancy stuff. And it's crazy what they can pick up on some of that stuff.
So for the people that aren't familiar with ghost hunting and terminologies that you're using there, EVP is short for
Electronic voice phenomenon. So that's
Gotcha.
when you may ask a question and in real time you can't hear it, but then they'll go back and they'll listen, and on a little $40 recorder from Walmart even, they'll pick up responses to your questions. And
I
Wow.
know exactly what you mean now.
it's
Yep.
wild. It's
That is wild. And I guess recently your husband made a series of paranormal music boxes.
Yeah.
And what does what does that do?
Well, I've been on some investigations with some people that had them, and this is the one he made.
Okay.
The other ones are much more fancy, but they can run $400 to $800, which I think that's just a lot for me.
Yeah.
It's really cool. They have the old-fashioned mechanisms on them and stuff. But basically, I mean, this is just a little wooden box, and it's got a sensor in it, and it's kind of a cone sensor, so it's going to span out this way. And what it does is when you turn it on, it'll calibrate by sending out, I guess, waves or something that'll bounce off and send back. And so it kind of knows what's there. And then when something might break the beam or whatever, the zone that it's detecting.
When it notices a difference or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. When it notices something's interrupted that field, it, of course, plays really creepy music. It'll go off for, I think about 7 seconds is what this one will do. And then if whatever is in that field continues to keep moving, it'll keep playing the creepy music.
Oh, wow.
So you have it set up, and then, some of these locations we'll set things up and we'll go wander around, and then you start hearing your devices going off, and it's like, okay, something's going on over here. This is where we need to go. So you can hear it from a distance or just have it right in the room with you. And then too, you can use it for, if it starts to detect something, you can use it as a form of communication as well. Like, did you live here in the 1940s? Can you make that play music if the answer is yes? And you can use it that way too to kind of communicate, just kind of another device to get some interaction. Yeah.
So when you mentioned your team there, Para 911, so that's para911.com to go there. And is there a little bit of information about your whole team there? Like, can you kind of break it down and kind of read about each person that's involved in that? Or
I should have checked out our website. I haven't been on there too much because we mostly do our stuff on Facebook. But there's 5 of us on the team. Dave's the founder. He's been doing this for years and years, kind of, through his life, different times where he's been busy and hasn't been able to do stuff as much. So, but he's always been into the paranormal. And then his wife Kathy's on the team. His sister Rose is on the team. She's done this for a number of years too, and been on a few different teams. And she has some kind of sensitive abilities too, so that's always kind of interesting to have her on investigations. And then we have Tracy, who's on our team as well, and he works for kind of a mental facility in the area. So he sees all kinds of interesting things during the day and night, and then he'll come on investigations too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of.
I seen a picture here, and it looked like there was 4 people in the picture. Were you the last one to join that picture? Or the last one to join the group, I should say?
Yeah, I'm the most recent addition to.
So that picture that's there is probably without you. So you need to get them on that and get that updated. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Also, too, I'm looking there, and it looks like you guys. Looks like they have a makeshift ambulance turned into a ghost hunting mobile.
Yes, Dave has. He's had a couple interesting vehicles over the year, but this is the second ambulance he's had.
Wow.
And yeah, it's quite cool actually. The inside he's got desks built up in there with computers and monitors, and then if we go out to a site, they've got all of the cabling set up in there, and we just unroll all the cameras, put them in the building, and then someone can sit out in the ambulance and in real time watch all the cameras as we're investigating. And some places are cold and don't have heat, so we've got heat out in the ambulance, and of course we've got snacks out there.
Of course.
It looks good.
Do you guys have Ray Parker Jr. on repeat in there? Or
we do use the ambulance in local parades, and we
nice
costumes, and we play the Ghostbusters theme, and we have a lot of fun with it.
Oh, I bet.
I'm sure you do. So, yeah. So talk to me a little bit about the photography. I know we touched on that a little bit at the beginning. Is this stuff that you're selling on your Etsy as well, or what are we selling on there exactly again? Remember you kind of described that a little bit before we started recording. Yeah,
and my Etsy shop's just fairly new, but yeah, the little boxes and stuff that my husband's making, we're putting on there. I started crafting and making earrings and jewelry during COVID because I was going crazy with boredom. So I've got of course that's turned into ghost earrings and ghost accessories. So I've got some little things I've made on there. And then I don't have any of my photography on there yet. I need to get some time to get some of that on there. I have a separate Etsy store for non-haunted and spooky photos that I've been doing. But I'm hoping to get some of that stuff in there soon too.
For sure. So, I mean, is that... I'm assuming you have a regular full-time job other than these things that you're doing here?
Yeah. Yep. I work in accounting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you work in what?
Accounting.
Oh, my. So the full-time job gets really boring, and then therefore you got to go out and about and start doing something exciting.
Yes.
So you mentioned dowsing rods. Now, when a coworker of mine, she's the reason she's the one that invited me out to this mansion to check this out because her and her boyfriend wanted to do this kind of as a bucket list thing. And so I went along, but before I went out, I actually went on Amazon, bought dowsing rods because I just wanted to see how this was going to work. And I'll tell you what, Troy, and I kind of know like where your mindset is sometimes with this stuff, but I had these dowsing rods, not necessarily in the mansion, although I did have them there too, but I had these in like a location which was an old makeshift children's surgery location, and it was an old building, and me and my coworkers just for fun wanted to try these out to see how they worked. And I'll tell you what, it freaked us all out because we're standing in a big circle and we started asking it questions, and we also, and I'm the one holding it, so I know it's like legit.
Yeah.
And as I'm holding it, I'm saying, okay, can you point to, like, for example, the one guy's name was Tom, and we're all in a circle of 6 or 7 of us. And the dowsing rods moved and pointed directly to Tom. And then we started asking, can you point to such and such? And it would do that. And I'm like, I don't even know how to explain this. Like this is freaking me out. So that was when I was just like, I'm not making these move. I'm holding these in my hand. You can see me holding them, and they're moving and they're answering because it would like cross for yes, um, open for no, and it was giving me yes and no answers when I would ask it. That's yeah. So I don't know. I don't know where like I don't know how far Troy is going with this, but it is pretty legit in my opinion when as far as some of the experiences that I've had with it.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe there are spirits that that are hanging around, and
Mm-hmm.
to me it's really interesting because I've always kind of thought like I think these spirits hang around until they get the closure on the situation that they want, and
Yeah.
some of them just never get that closure. And I think the longer it lasts, and it almost seems, or again, as we get back to what I was saying earlier, the more gruesome or horrific the incident was, sometimes I think that is what makes the spirits angrier to
Mm-hmm.
grab attention to figure out what was going on here, what abuse was going on, who got killed, why did they get killed, like did somebody get money out of this? You know what I mean? Like why?
Yeah.
That's kind of why. That's kind of where my mind is on these spirits that hang around like that. So
Sure.
I'm not totally a non-believer of those things. I do think that, as Tina was saying, I think the reason I have some skepticism towards it is because of some of these Hollywood productions
Oh yeah.
that dramatize everything, and you're like, okay, well that's not believable, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. So yeah, so Tina, when you get out to the East Coast and you decide to make a trip to Gettysburg, you'll have to invite both Troy and I to go out with you, and we'll definitely turn this into an event.
the funny thing
Hey, that
is
sounds
about
like a great idea.
the funny thing is
Yeah.
about Gettysburg, I've never physically visited the battlefield of Gettysburg. I've driven through and around and such like that, but I've never actually visited it. So that'll be pretty interesting for me to take that in. I might want to visit it first without the haunting,
Yeah.
because I'll probably never go back if I run into something haunting there. So
There you go.
I want to touch up on something here as we kind of start finishing up with you here a little bit. You mentioned, and I didn't even know this going into this, the Ford Mustang Club.
Yeah, right.
Like, how did this all come about? Were you always a motorhead, or what? Like, that's pretty cool.
Well, I grew up going to car shows with my dad, and so we did that for a long time. And then, you get into those teenage years where you're busy doing all this other stuff, and then kind of circled back around to cars. I didn't get my license till I was 18, and so I got my first car when I had been working and bought it myself, and that was a big thing. And then shortly
Was it
after
a Mustang?
that, it was not. It was not
Okay.
a Mustang. It was a Pontiac Sunbird.
Oh,
my.
nice, the old Sunbird.
The old Sunbird.
Yeah, right.
It was a two-door. It was teal, and it had a red stripe on it. It was pretty cool. I loved it. But shortly after that, I met my husband, who is a big car nut, and has always been a big Mustang fan, and just learning about the car and the history, and then we got involved with people, and he had one when I met him, and then it got in an accident, and then time went on, we got married, and after we'd been married a few years, we got a black convertible, which we still have. It turns 23 years old, 20 years
Wow.
old this year, I think. But we've had that thing down the California coast on Pikes Peak.
Oh, cool.
It's been all over. And so that car's really special to us. And then I've got a 2014 V6 performance package, which has also been all over the country just because we love to drive. And
Yeah.
then our most recent one we got is a 2016 GT performance pack. And we're doing the big California trip this summer with that. So I'm looking forward to that. We're taking our Mustang Club out to Colorado in July, and I think we're going to have 20 some cars
Oh wow.
cruising out for that. So that'll be fun. But we got involved in the club 2011, I think. And then, people just get busy and aren't able to keep running things, and some things kind of shifted, and we just kind of stepped in and have been running it ever since. And just, it's a lot of fun and
You got-
amazing people.
Do you guys
Yeah.
rival with like the Corvette Club and stuff?
Yeah, kind of. There's always some fun banter going back and forth.
I'm sure.
And
Yeah, it's
yeah,
all in fun though, right? Everybody has their,
Hmm.
You say
yeah,
tomato, I say tomato, right?
yeah, that's
Right.
right.
So yeah,
Yeah, we
that's
all love everything.
I've always been more of the Chevy automobile. I'm not a motorhead by any means, so I don't. But I've always been more into the Chevy kind of muscle cars more than the Fords. But the Ford Mustang, I mean, that's a wonderful
You
car. It
can't go
really is.
wrong there for
Yeah,
sure.
it really is. What do you think of these new things that are like SUV Mustangs or whatever? Like what? That's kind of strange. Like
The
why did they go into?
crossovers.
Yeah, I don't understand that. That's really strange to me. Like,
Yeah, no, I was part of a letter writing campaign to Ford to say no, this is not a good idea. Um, that they've grown on me a little bit. I understand what they're kind of doing with it, and
Hmm.
but it
you
could have been a
know,
different name, right?
Yeah,
yeah, that's what the whole campaign was. We were trying
like
to just
Pony.
name it
Yeah,
anything
something.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
And the
yeah.
Ford Bronco, the new Ford Bronco, that's a beautiful vehicle as well. They really did a great job with that. It looks retro, but it's so beautiful. Like
Hmm.
it's got a really cool thing to it. Like I
Yeah.
remember, was it? Oh geez, was that like 2003 or something when was it the Challenger came back? Was that about that time? Or no, the Pontiac GTO. That's what it was. When the
Yeah, I
GTO
like
came back.
those.
Oh my gosh, I
Mm,
was like, oh, they did such a great job when they redid that. And I think that's so
yeah.
cool when you have a classic car like that and you can kind of still give it that classic feel, but it's new and it's like it's
Yep.
fresh and that's why I liked. I wasn't that big of a fan, and I know a lot of the Mustang people they love like those mid '80 Mustangs or were they like '87 or something, '88, something like that, where they had the
Yeah.
different body style and stuff. But I guess they were super quick though. Am I kind of
Yeah.
right on that or?
Yeah, and a lot of people took those and turned them into drag cars and stuff,
Yep.
and they just
Uh,
fall.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
I
just
will
didn't like
say
that
when I
body
was
style though.
no, I wasn't a big fan of that body style either. And I will say when I was in high school, from the time I was 16 to like my first year in college, I had a '69 Camaro.
Oh, nice.
And oh my gosh, I love that car. And I do like the old style cars, but the only thing is, like today, I don't think I would like it as much, just for the simple like that car definitely didn't have power steering. Obviously,
Yep.
didn't have power
yeah,
windows. You kind of get spoiled. After a while, even though the car itself was gorgeous,
Yep.
I wish I had that style car with all the luxuries inside. You
Correct.
know, but yeah, man, yeah, that's definitely one that I really regret selling. You know, even though it was to pay for college, I still regret it.
Dude, he'd rather be in debt and keep the car.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I'd rather be living in a shopping cart at this point in time. So, but
Do you find yourself doing like are you guys gearheads and stuff too? Like are you guys the ones working on them and stuff like that, or do you guys have somebody else tinker
um,
with that?
for the most part, my husband Mark, he can fix just about anything, and I like to be involved in doing some of that stuff. So if it's little things that I can learn or he can show me how to do, I actually really enjoy getting my hands in the car and switching stuff out and helping with that. And we do all of our own detailing and everything,
oh, cool.
polishing them out and all of that stuff. So it's just fun to hang out in the garage and play with cars.
Oh yeah.
I thought that'd be a little fun side story we got on there, and for people that want to get interested in that type of thing, I mean, how did you find these groups? Just like by searching online, or like is that the best way to do it at this
Um,
point? Just hey, where's the Ford Mustang group in my area?
Yeah, we found out about ours. They had just a flyer up at the local Ford dealership, but yeah, most of them are on Facebook. There's Mustang clubs all over, and it's kind of the same way with the paranormal thing too. There's so many paranormal teams out there that if people are looking for somebody to join them or are willing to take people on that want to kind of learn and maybe train with them. Good to reach out, and most of the teams and people and any clubs, anything like that with a shared interest, everybody just is always really nice, and it's a
Yeah,
fun thing to be part of and good
Yeah.
way to spend your free time.
I'm glad you tied that back in because I was going to get back into the paranormal stuff. And again, it's Tina Tibbetts, and her Facebook page is Journey Into the Haunted. Is it into all one word, or is that
The Facebook pages,
okay?
yeah.
And then para911.com, you can go there. You can, get in contact with them. What would somebody want to get in contact with you about if they wanted to go to that page? Would it just be about, hey, this would be a cool place for you guys to explore, or what would it be?
Yeah, that, and we do Para 911. We do residential cases. So if people have something that's in their home that they just want somebody with some experience to come in and see if we can figure out what's going on or what might be there. We've had a few we've done where people were afraid to be in their own home and weren't even sleeping in their own home. So we've gone in and tried to figure some things out. So that's one thing they'll reach out to us about. And then also we've had some local businesses, local museums that have called us in. We've done some events for libraries and museums in the area too, just kind of a informative presentation on stuff. And something really cool we did this year, we had a production company reach out to us and they wanted to do a documentary on an old museum here in Sioux City. And so we were part of that, and filming is wrapped on that, and that'll be out around Halloween sometime.
Oh, cool.
Where will that be found?
It's gonna be, I know Tubi, T-U-B-I, I'm not real familiar with it. I've watched a few of the production companies' things on there, but it'll be on there, and it's called Real Haunted Mansion 2. And that'll be about the Pierce Mansion here in Sioux City, featuring Para 911.
Yeah.
And do you have a rough idea when that will be released?
Halloween,
yeah, I think they're shooting around Halloween time.
Oh, Halloween. Okay. Oh, wow. That's pretty quick considering you just finished up filming. That's a pretty quick turnaround. That's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, we're really excited. We had a really good time with that, and the museum was really cool too because it was places as children we went there for school, so it was a place that's been part of our lives.
Yeah.
So it was neat to go back there as adults and with this paranormal background and kind of look around in there and. Yeah,
definitely. Well, now I kind of have an idea of why you can't afford the $700 to $800 music box after hearing all your Mustangs.
Yeah.
Priorities, right?
That's right.
Oh my gosh! Well, that sounds cool. You have a lot going on in your life, that's for sure. And
yeah, it's all fun stuff.
Yeah. What do you do for fun outside of all that?
I like to travel.
Okay.
So we're doing some traveling coming up this weekend. We're going to the House on the Rock in Wisconsin, which my husband saw on TikTok. And I can't even begin to explain this place. You just kind of have to Google it. It's like this collection of all this weird, it's just weird, like very eccentric. And I love that kind of stuff. The weirder, the better. Just bring it on. So we're going to go check that out. And in 2 weeks, we're joining a team called Shadow Asylum Paranormal. They're out of Omaha, about 2 hours from us. And we're all going to a haunted mansion in Atchison, Kansas. And we're going to spend 2 nights there. So that'll be fun. But yeah, ghost stuff and cars and travels really, and photography. Those are the things I love when I'm not at work.
Which it sounds like you can do all that while you travel.
I know. It just all kind of goes hand in hand. I take my Mustang
right?
to the haunted places, and it just all works out great.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Is this the picture of the house on the rock, huh?
Yeah, that's what I pulled up there, and that's very interesting.
You got to look at the interior pictures.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's insane. There's like this carousel. I can kind of see the picture there.
Yeah.
It's got like 80 chandeliers on it, and
oh my gosh, look at that.
It's like in the middle of this house.
Yeah.
This is wild.
And they've got knights in shining armor, and they've got sea monsters and instruments that play themselves.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Yeah, like the sea monster with a boat in its mouth or something. Yeah, like.
Yeah, so Troy brought up the website here that we're all looking at, and
I just Googled it. That's all.
Oh my gosh, how big is this place?
It's got to be huge. I don't.
Yeah, right.
Square footage, but.
So, how many people are going to be in this house?
We're just going to go. They're doing tours during the day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it'd be cool to investigate it because there is got stories with this crazy stuff. I did see they do like an after dark tour, but they only do it in October around Halloween. So I
Okay.
was kind of bummed about that. But
Yeah. Yeah. Right. That is cool, though. Wow. Well,
Yeah.
that should be a lot of fun.
Look at these guns here. These what the heck?
Yeah, the whole thing is just like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I need to know what this guy was on.
yeah. Right. It definitely coming from an artistic mind,
Yeah.
for
That's
sure.
crazy stuff. So, hey, good luck with your trip. I hope you have a lot of fun. So once
Thanks.
again, we'll wrap things up here. You go to Facebook, Journey into the Haunted, para911.com. On Etsy, you said you're going to send us a link of that. We can attach that to our Facebook page then. But if you were saying correctly, it's Journey into the Haunted, but without the I in into. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Etsy restricted how many characters I could use, so it's just it's Journey and then the letter N to the Haunted.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
can search her on there as well.
Music boxes.
If you happen to be out in Sioux City, or no, you're in Nebraska. I'm sorry. Sioux City I is where Para 911 is. Which you said that's not far from you though, correct? It's just across the
Yeah,
border.
we're just right across the river.
Yeah. And then the Ford Mustang Club out there. Why don't you give them guys a shout out real quick? What's that chapter out there?
Yeah, we're just Siouxland Mustang Club, and the website SiouxlandMustangClub.com, and we're on Facebook too.
So
That is
there
so
you go.
cool.
So, any
So-
last parting
so-
words for us? Or?
Yeah, I was just gonna say before you have those last parting words, the music box. You said that you don't want to afford, you can't afford the $700-800. How much are you selling yours for?
We're selling them for $80.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, so that's quite the break, huh?
Yeah, I think they're pretty cool. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
they're very well put together. It's very well constructed, from what I can see.
He did a great job with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
you did it.
spray painted them. That was my
There you go. That's your contribution.
So it's a 60-40 split then.
There you go. So, yeah, any last words for you?
No, I just thanks so much for having me on. And,
Sure.
if anybody's interested in Music Box, check out my website. And I just want to give a shout out to Para 911 and just all of the investigators out there that have taken us under their wing and shared time with us and shared experiences and knowledge. We appreciate it and look forward to more adventures.
Yeah, that's
All
awesome.
right.
Well,
Very
yeah,
good.
thank you again, Tina. And
Appreciate
again,
it.
we're speaking with Tina Tibbetts of Journey into the Haunted, and also part of the Para 911 and Mustang clubs and Etsy and photography. You name it, she's doing it. So that's awesome.
I don't know what she does with all her free time.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I'll hit you up when I'm out in Gettysburg, though.
Yes, definitely.
Most
dude.
definitely,
I
yeah.
would love to check that out. Like I said, I need to make it a point to get there before the haunting experience. So I don't
Now you have a
bad
reason.
experience. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So
Awesome.
we'll definitely check that out. So yeah. So again, thanks, Tina. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
You too.
All right.